If you've ever said yes when your whole body screamed no, this video is for you. You laugh when you're not okay. You agree when you're overwhelmed. You give when your tank is empty. And somehow you've learned to call that kindness. But what if that's not kindness? What if that's survival? In this video, we're unpacking people pleaser syndrome, not just what it is, but why it runs so deep. We'll explore where it starts, how it shows up in adulthood, the hidden toll it takes on your soul, and most importantly, how to heal. Welcome back to Mentor's Mindset. This isn't just about being too nice. People pleaser syndrome is a behavioral pattern where your actions are driven by a compulsive need to earn approval, avoid rejection, or stay emotionally safe. You might over-apologize even when it's not your fault. Say "I'm fine" when you're falling apart. Avoid conflict at all costs, even if it means betraying yourself. This is often a fawn response, a lesser-known trauma survival instinct. While fight, flight, or freeze get more attention, fawn is the shape-shifting one. It says, if I can make you like me, maybe you won't hurt me. You're not just being polite, you're scanning for danger. You're predicting people's moods before they speak. You're rehearsing conversations in your head because the fear of disappointing someone feels like a threat to your safety. It's not people-pleasing, it's people-pacifying. It's not about being liked. It's about being allowed to exist without conflict. You've trained yourself to anticipate needs before they're even spoken. That's not a personality trait, that's hypervigilance. Many people pleasers grew up in homes where love was conditional. You were praised for being quiet, helpful, and obedient. You weren't taught to have needs, only to meet other people's. Maybe you were parentified, becoming the emotional caretaker in your home. When being good was the only way to feel safe or valued, people-pleasing became a strategy. In many cultures, especially collectivist ones, niceness is a survival tactic. Be nice or be rejected. Don't make others uncomfortable. Always think of others first. These messages become internalized over time, and we confuse being passive with being kind. Pause and think. When were you first rewarded for being easy? You might have been told, don't talk back and be grateful. Stop being so sensitive. Slowly, you learned that shrinking made you lovable. You didn't get unconditional love, you got transactional approval. In many families, being good meant never being angry, never needing help, never making waves. Over time, you started wearing masks just to be accepted, and now, as an adult, you can't tell where the mask ends and you begin. At work, you say yes to every extra task, even if you're drowning. You stay late so others won't think you're lazy. You avoid feedback even when it's needed, just to keep the peace. In relationships, you tolerate emotional neglect or disrespect, telling yourself, they're just going through a tough time. I don't want to make a big deal. You overfunction, overgive, and underreceive while secretly feeling invisible. In identity, you constantly edit yourself. You adapt your tone, interests, or opinions based on who you're with. Your sense of self becomes foggy. Not because you don't have one, but because you've spent so long muting it. Self-editing is self-erasing. In friendships, you become the emotional caretaker. The one who remembers everyone's birthday but gets forgotten on your own. The one who always listens but rarely gets asked, and how are you really doing? You default to humor, deflection, or silence, not because you're light-hearted, but because vulnerability feels dangerous. You rehearse text messages before sending them. You apologize for asking simple questions. Even small confrontations feel threatening. Your nervous system panics. You would rather suffer in silence than feel like a burden. You believe that if you're not useful, you'll be forgotten. So you bend, break, and betray yourself to avoid being left. Deep down, you feel you're not worthy just as you are, so you overcompensate, constantly trying to prove your worth through what you do, not who you are. If you need me, you won't leave me, but that's not love, that's fear in disguise. You've fused your identity with being needed. You don't know who you are when you're not fixing, helping, or accommodating. Saying no doesn't just feel rude, it feels like an existential threat, like you're failing some invisible test. There's a belief underneath the behavior. If I'm not useful, I'll be abandoned. If I'm honest, I'll be punished. If I'm too much, I'll lose everything. It's not logic holding you back, it's nervous system memory. Your nervous system is running on fumes. You're exhausted but smiling, tired but agreeable, lonely but surrounded. You forget what you like, what you need, what you believe. You live in reaction to others instead of in connection with yourself. People pleasers often attract narcissists, manipulators, users. Why? Because they benefit from your silence, your overfunctioning, your inability to walk away. People pleasing doesn't create peace, it creates quiet suffering. You don't just burn out, you vanish. Your days are filled with tasks that drain you and conversations that numb you. You become a ghost in your own life. Even in a crowd, you feel invisible. You might lie awake at night thinking, why does no one show up for me the way I show up for them? The truth is, people have learned to expect your silence, and silence becomes consent to mistreatment. That's the cost. Start small. Say no to something low stakes. Practice speaking your needs without over-explaining. Let silence exist without rushing to fill it. Every time you say no without guilt, you're teaching your nervous system that you're safe, even if someone is disappointed. Name your feelings, name your needs, then honor them. Look yourself in the eye and affirm, I matter even when I'm not performing. I am safe to be seen. Today I said no, that's a win. I didn't betray myself, that's growth. Practice micro boundaries. Don't answer messages immediately. Say, let me get back to you instead of a rushed yes. Decline invitations without an essay. These tiny shifts retrain your brain to tolerate discomfort. You don't have to be rude to be real. You don't have to cut people off to honor yourself. There's a middle ground. It's not cold, it's clear, and clarity creates peace. People-pleasing isn't just a mindset, it's a nervous system pattern. Try somatic practices like breath work, grounding, or cold exposure. Teach your body that you're not in danger when you're being honest. That little version of you who thought love had to be earned is still driving the car. Start reparenting them. Tell them, you don't have to fix everything to be loved, I've got you now. Healing happens in safe relationships. Find people who celebrate your no, who don't crumble when you set a boundary. That becomes your new blueprint. Every time you override your discomfort to please someone else, you reinforce the Fawn response. But every time you pause, breathe, and choose honesty, even if your voice shakes, you break the pattern. Try this. Place your hand on your chest and say, I am not in danger. I can speak my truth. I am still safe. Repeat until your body believes it. Healing isn't loud. Sometimes it's sitting in stillness after saying no and realizing the sky didn't fall. You don't have to prove yourself anymore. Not everyone will like the real you. And that's freedom. Stop performing. Start living. You're not healing to become a better version of who they liked. You're healing to become more you. Let go of the applause. Choose peace. If this is hitting home, comment "Enough is enough" and tell me your story below. And if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. Let's grow through this together. If this message found you at the right time, take it as your permission to stop people-pleasing and start self-honoring. Subscribe to Mentor's Mindset and share this with someone who always gives too much. Sometimes the kindest thing we can do is say no. The performance ends now. The smile that hides your exhaustion, the yes that hides your resentment, the helpfulness that hides your pain, it can stop. Not all at once, but piece by piece. You don't have to become harsh to protect yourself. You just have to become honest. Honesty is a form of self-respect. It's also how you find the people who truly love you, not the version of you that overfunctions, but the version of you that simply is. Let the applause fade, let the masks fall, let your real self speak, even if not everyone claps. That's how healing begins.